Good evening, good evening, good evening, and good evening once again. Good evening once again. Um, Pebbles here, founder of Missing, Lost, and Trafficked. I have a guest that I am attempting, Miss Cantrell. I'm attempting to add to the stream. I have been having some technical difficulties with StreamYard. So I see that it's circling. And so if we have any issues, I will end this stream, start a live, a regular Facebook live, and I'll just bring her on to that stream. Hopefully that does not happen. I just want everyone to hear clearly what Miss Cantrell is going to be sharing this evening. I'd like for you to share this live stream. So share, 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 share. Because I'm having some issues getting her brought in on video, I'm going to ask her. I'm going to ask you at this time, if you can hear me, Miss Cantrell. I will ask you if you can edit your stream to audio only. And just because I want to make sure. Are you there, Miss Cantrell?
Yes, I'm here.
And make sure I can hear you. Okay. Are you there, Miss Cantrell?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I see your face. Okay. I can't hear anything right now. And so please forgive me. All right. I'm gonna change that layout. Okay. I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear her right now. Okay.
Can you hear
me?
And
so I may have to, unfortunately, just start a regular Facebook live stream and not use StreamYard. I'd hate to do that, but it seems like that's what I'll have no other choice but to do that. I'm trying to see if I can kind of work something else out right now, but that seems to be something that's happening right now. I'm not sure why. Okay. All right. So let me go back here. Ms., can you hear me? Let's see what they're saying in comments. You can hear her? Oh, wow. You can hear her. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. I'm figuring this out. Maybe I got it open on another browser somewhere. I just want to figure this one out. Something is going on because I can't hear her. All right. Say hello, Miss Cantrell. I can't hear you on my end.
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay. I want to go into the stream. This is odd. Yeah, you can hear her. Okay. Let me go into the stream. I'll try to figure something out. Okay. This live stream, thank you so much for sharing and caring. Thank you for tagging public officials, news anchors. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Give me a moment. I'm trying to figure this one out. What's going on? Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me? Give me a moment. Yes, I can hear you, which is weird. It's weird because I can't hear you on the stream that I'm in. I can hear you on this other device.
Okay.
So, yeah. What I want to do, I'm going to have to move this at a real slow pace because I got to give you enough time to respond and then ask you a question and just kind of pace it out because it's going to be awkward trying to speak with you through this live stream and I can't hear you on the main stream that I'm on, that I'm supposed to hear you on. And I do apologize. I'm having all kinds of craziness happen And somebody say the devil is so busy, and he's been busy, but he's not going to be victorious because we're going to figure this one out some type of way. So, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone that's watching tonight, Miss Cantrell, and let everyone know who you are and what your relationship is with Mr. Lyles?
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Shakira Cantrell, and I am the cousin of Creg Lyles. Um, it's a cousin by marriage, but I don't consider it that because I've been around the family for over 20 years. So he's my cousin, and I have treated him as my blood cousin since we met. And that's what he will always be. And I'm going to do whatever I need to do to find out where he is and bring him home.
Mm-hmm. As you should, as you should, and as any other loving family member would do everything that they could do. And I commend you in your efforts to find your cousin. I know that he was last seen in Waterford Township, Michigan, January 21st of 2021. He lived in the Rivers Edge Apartments at the time. I know that Fox 2 Detroit reported that Mr. Lyles was last known to be with a Michael Tyler Butler, and this gentleman at the time was 34 years of age, and that was reported on November 17th of 2021 by Fox 2 Detroit. And also in that news report, they stated that Mr. Butler he refused to speak with investigators. We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm just kind of giving a summary for everyone in terms of, so everyone can know the basic circumstances surrounding your cousin's disappearance. I know that I made some notes. A family member said that Mr. Butler was in a romantic relationship with Mr. Lyles, and they were seen together on Christmas. And this was, shortly before Mr. Lyles was last seen. And I also was informed that Mr. Butler had been given some sort of access to your cousin's vehicle and to his apartment. And so I want to go back to January 20th, and that is the day before your cousin was last seen by relatives and friends, which is January 21st of 2021. And so, can you recall the interactions that your cousin had with family members and friends on January 20th?
So the last interactions that majority of the family and his close friends had with him on that day was through text message. So on that day, he was actually supposed to attend a funeral of a mentor of his that had mentored him since he was a very young boy, with the church choir and singing and music, which is something that he absolutely loved. And this person was very near and dear to his heart. So he absolutely wanted to attend this funeral that day, but he had to work, so he was unable to attend. But we did speak with him through text message. But as the day went on, we didn't hear from him later on that day, and going into the following day, we didn't hear from him at all, which he had told us that he was starting a new job. So we didn't really think too much of it at the time. We were thinking, okay, well, maybe he's just busy with this new job and he hasn't been able to really talk with us as he normally would every single morning. But then a friend of his
Mhm.
had tried to contact him through Facebook and through text message, and he did not respond. And that's very unlike him. Anytime you send him a text message or you say something to him via Facebook, he's definitely going to respond back to you. So that was something that was odd, that we noticed that he just didn't reply back to anyone with any type of timely manner. So that's when eyebrows began to raise and suspicions began to go around like, okay, what's going on that we have not heard from him? And then that's when we proceeded to call his phone and try to contact him, and his cell phone was going straight to voicemail at that point.
Okay. And anytime that happens, it is very stressful, and it's worrisome for family members. So I can understand the alarm and panic, and how you were feeling, and other family members, when his phone was going to voicemail. would you would you mind, would it be okay if you could describe his temperament or his demeanor the last time his family members, friends, or co-workers saw him? Was he chipper, sad, anxious?
There was a bit of mixed emotions. Um, he definitely would be able to tell if something was bothering him. And the last family gathering that we had, which was
Okay.
shortly before he went missing, he came to the event. Normally, of course, he's fashionably late, but this time he was extremely late to the gathering. And when he came, we thought that his temperament was a little bit odd. He wasn't acting like his normal self that day, and then he
Mm-hmm.
left very abruptly.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time we were all talking with each other, and we were like, did Creg leave? And we're looking around the room and he's gone. And when he came to the gathering with Michael Butler Jr. And the whole time that they were there, Craig spoke to us and kind of tried to interact, but it wasn't as he normally would. But Mike was there and he didn't say really much of anything at all to anybody. He was just very observant. And then I noticed that he kind of got antsy and he went out on the porch. And then Craig went out on the porch. And then the next thing we knew, Craig came in saying, "Oh, I'm about to go." And by the time we all turned around, he was gone. Um, and then a few days after that,
Okay.
another cousin of ours saw him that evening.
Mhm.
It was probably on the Tuesday before, so that was the 19th of January. Saw him that evening. He had came and met him, and borrowed some money from him that night. And he was with Mike that night when he came to borrow the money, and then they left. And then that following day, he had stopped by my home, and came and spoke with my husband and I. And at that point, that was the last time that I physically saw him and spoke to him. And we spoken for a long time that day. And we just talked about getting the family going on trips together, having the cousins do things together more often, trying to get the family back to the way that it used to be with the family dinners on Sundays. And he was very excited. He was talking about his birthday party that he was planning for the year.
Mhm.
And he loved celebrating his birthday. He loved being with family. So he was extremely excited because a lot of our family members have birthdays back to back. So he was so excited to share everybody's birthday together and plan his for the year. And that was the last things that we were talking about when he was at my home. And then the following day, all of a sudden, he's vanished into thin air and no one knows where he is.
Okay. Um, I wanted to know, based upon the circumstances surrounding your cousin's disappearance, do you know if he was clearly having any kind of ongoing disputes or issues with anyone?
Not anyone outside of Mike at the time, the last time that me and him had a very deep conversation in relation to the relationship, he did discuss to me that they had a couple of disagreements with each other. And he was at a place where he wasn't sure if he still wanted to remain in the relationship with this person, and he wasn't being treated the way he wanted to be treated. But at the same time, he said that he loved him. And I said, well, if someone is not treating you the way that you want to be treated and you feel that you should be treated in a relationship, then that means that that person is not for you. And you don't have to stay in a relationship with someone who is not treating you the way that you should be treated. I said, you have a heart of gold, you're a great person, and this is not the only person in the world that you can be with. There's other people out here, and just because you're not with this person doesn't mean that you're going to be alone. But other than that, there was no one else whom he mentioned that he had any type of
Okay.
quarrels with at all, or any type of disagreement or disputes with. He was loved by so many people.
Okay. Okay. And from what I'm gathering from you, it what I'm gathering from you, Mr. Lyles seems to be a person that was indeed, outgoing, and seems like he was an easy person to get along with. That's what I'm gathering. And there may have definitely been some sort of issues, right, or conflicts he was having with his boyfriend at the time. And so I will be, working on trying to figure out, more about that relationship and how that relationship was going. And I am, concerned given the circumstances surrounding his disappearance. And so we know that Mr. Lyles was last seen. He was last seen January 21st, and um, I was told that there was someone else other than his boyfriend who became concerned and contacted the police and gotten the police involved. And so after the police report was filed, or even before, can you explain maybe what your conversations was like, or anyone else's conversations was like what was the kind of general mood when family members decided to reach out to Mr. Lyle's boyfriend to try to figure out from his account what was going on?
So once we kind of got word that he wasn't replying to anyone, as you stated, the police were involved. They were called to do a welfare check, just to check on him to see if maybe something happened and he couldn't answer the phone, or maybe he was just asleep, the phone was dead, or something, whatever the case may have been. So when they went out there, he was nowhere to be found. One of his closest friends went out there as well to the apartment to check on him, by the request of one of his parents, to just to check on him and see what's going on, in addition to the police going out there. And when he arrived as well, there was no sign of Creg. Um, the police attempted to knock on the door to see if he would answer, and he did not. He did not answer the door. And there was no sign of his vehicle, and there was just no sign of him anywhere when the police and his friend got to the apartment. And as they were there, uh, Mike Butler pulled up in Craig's car at the apartment with the police there and his closest friend as well. And for me personally, I feel if you have not had any contact with this person, you don't know where they are, um, there will be no reason for you to be in possession of their vehicle. And I just don't understand how you can say, because he said that he just didn't know where he was and he hadn't heard from him, but um, he was allowed to use his vehicle from time to time.
Hmm.
And I know my cousin, and he does not just allow anybody to drive his car. If you saw him, you saw him driving his car. So that was very strange, and that was something that
Okay.
we all kind of looked at sideways, like, no, he
Hmm.
would never just allow anybody to drive his car. Anytime he was going anywhere, he would drive. And if he was not driving, he was riding with a family member or one of his closest friends. Um, so we immediately, of course, began to look in that direction, like, okay, something's not right here.
Okay. Uh, and I certainly understand, you know, why you and other family members felt alarmed. Uh, I mean, I'm hearing you say that while police were, or at your cousin's apartment, his boyfriend pulls up in his car. And I'm not hearing you say that his boyfriend was particularly, you know, in distress or showing concern or frantic trying to figure out where Mr. Lyles was. Yeah, that is something that I'm not hearing from you. And I would love to speak with Mr. Butler. Hopefully, he will reach out to Missing Lost and Traffic It, and we can have a conversation. I'd like to know, what type of search efforts or search initiatives he put forth towards finding Mr. Lyles at the time. But that, I guess, that will have to be a separate conversation. Now, I did speak with you, and this was more so off the record on yesterday. And there are some other things or actions taken by Mr. Butler, and he is or was in a relationship with Mr. Lyles at the time of his disappearance. And would you like to discuss, elaborate, live, for everyone to, kind of get a better understanding on what the other concerns you have? What were some other things that Mr. Butler did that you found to be a bit disturbing?
I would say that after the disappearance, the reported disappearance of my cousin, we, of course, as a family, began to do search parties. We began to kind of walk the streets just to kind of find out where he could possibly be. And Mr. Butler did not show up to any of those searches that we organized. When we attempted to reach out to him to say, hey, can you come search? Or have you even talked to him, or what happened, or anything like that? He's very closed off, would not answer any questions. um, the only thing that he would say is, I hope you guys find him. And that was told to me by a friend of Craig's that attempted to contact him. The family, of course, we have not been in contact with him at all. um, and I just find it quite disturbing that someone that you say that you loved and cared for, when they are absent from your presence for any long period of time, the first thing that you would show is concern. And there was absolutely no concern shown at all. And for you to just freely drive around in the vehicle, and you haven't heard from this person, but you also have not said anything to his family that you have not heard from him. You have not alerted the authorities. You have not told his parents or anyone, hey, I haven't heard from him. I have his car. Has anybody else talked to him? There's absolutely no concern whatsoever.
Okay. Um, so from what I've gathered, what you're saying, Mr. Butler did not participate in the search parties or show that he was just genuinely concerned regarding
Absolutely.
Mr. Lyles' disappearance? Is that's what you're saying?
Yes, he showed absolutely no concern. And even to this day has not shown any concern.
Okay. 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 And so, and I am just getting your account. So I have to say that these are uh, your alleged, allegedly,
Hmm.
he did not show concern. And so I would definitely, again, would love to speak with him personally or anyone else who knows him personally to find out, you know, from his account, maybe his family members' accounts, if if he took any kind of action to look for Mr. Lyles. And so I did not see any public pleas from him on social media. I will look again, but that's not what I'm seeing. And so um, there was a search party that took place, and it took place around or in within the apartment complex that your cousin was residing at the time of his disappearance. Would you like to talk a little bit about that search party and what was found? There was something that was found that disturbed you and others.
Yes, that was one of the first places that we did a search at, was where he lived. And while we were there was a couple of things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I would say. Initially, when we were there searching, I did notice that one of the neighbors, of course, was videotaping us as we were searching around. There was a lake right behind the apartment unit where he lives. So we were walking around trying to search there. And of course, it's cold outside. The lake was frozen over. So we really couldn't see too much, but we were still making an attempt to look there. And he was recording us. And then when we attempted to see if he had known anything or had seen anything, there was like no contact. Like we just didn't see him recording us. And so we continued on. And as we continued, we found a pair of Timberland boots in a dumpster. And that pair of boots looked very familiar to us. And there seemed to be blood splatter on the boot.
Okay.
And of course, I'm not a forensic scientist, and neither is anyone else that was on the search party with us. So we can't say for sure 100% that that's what it was because we don't know, but that's what it appeared to be to us. So we called the police department. They came out, they picked up the boots, and that was the last we heard of it. But it looked familiar to us because Michael Butler had on a pair of boots very, very similar to those boots. And they were the same size um, at a family gathering before um, before this disappearance took place.
Okay. Okay. So the boots that you found with blood on them, they were similar and about the same size as the boots that your cousin, Mr. Lyles, had been wearing before he disappeared. That's what I want to make sure I understand you correctly.
No, not Craig's boots. They looked similar to a pair of boots that Michael Butler had on at a family gathering.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Just making sure. Okay. So the boots. Oh, okay. I understand better now. I am trying to remotely hear you, and so I'm just work with me a little bit. There were some boots that he was wearing at a family gathering. Um, Mr. Butler was wearing and those boots you believe are the same boots he had on at the gathering, was found or located in this wooded area with blood on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if police did any sort of, I don't know, forensic processing of the booze? That they take it in, to for evidence, or
They did come out.
what happened with those boots?
They did come out and pick them up, and they said that they were taking them in for evidence. But I haven't heard anything else in relation to those boots since they were taken into evidence. So at this point, I'm not sure if it was blood on them, if it wasn't, if there was anything
Okay. So
tying
you hadn't heard
Mr.
it.
Butler
Okay.
to it.
But they did take it to, and they did tell you they were examining those boots, correct?
Yes, they did.
Okay. Okay. I know we've been talking for some time, and in these sorts of circumstances, whereas someone has been missing for an extended period of time, I'm interested in knowing what the interactions has been like between family members and the investigators or police department charged with investigating the disappearance of that disappearance. So, just if you can just, in I guess in a nutshell, tell me, you know, your thoughts on and where the police are on the investigation or into the investigation of your cousin's disappearance, and where are they and where would you like them to be? Yeah.
At this point, as a family, we feel unanimously that the police department has not done due diligence with this case. Um, I think they are making it appear to us that they are, but they're not doing as much as they could be doing for this particular case. And what makes me say that is, of course, there's a tip line, and sometimes people don't call the tip line. They may Facebook message or call or send a message to one of the family members some type of way. And we had gotten a tip from someone about my cousin possibly being in this particular location within the city. So a couple of my cousins and I, and a couple of Craig's closest friends, we immediately rushed to this particular location, and we call the Oakland County Sheriffs to come out to help us at this point, because it's within the city of Pontiac. It's not in Waterford. And when they get there,
Mm.
my cousin had asked if they had
Okay.
heard about Craig's case. And they said, "Oh, no, we haven't heard about this." So I feel that if this is the county sheriff's department, they should be aware of all cases that are going on within their jurisdiction. And for them to have absolutely no knowledge of what's going on with this case tells me that they are not using all the resources that they have available to them. And Creg was from the city of Pontiac, so majority of his family lives there. A lot of his friends live in Pontiac. A lot of the times he was in the city of Pontiac for various events and various social gatherings. So I would think that you would attempt to pull in as many resources as you could to find this particular person who lived in your city but wasn't from your city and didn't live there for an extended period of time. Um, and also, you're not communicating with us regularly saying, "Hey, this is what's going on. We've reached out to this person, we've reached out to that department, we've reached out to this organization to help us do whatever the case may be." You're not communicating any of that with us. You're telling us what you can't do, what you're waiting for, and that's not helpful to us. And a lot of the work that has been done by the family. We're putting in the work. We're contacting various people who we think can possibly help us put the pieces of the puzzle together. And we feel like we're doing their job for them.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm gathering from you is that you don't feel as though the police department investigating your cousin's disappearance has done all that they could do or should be doing to find him. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Even the chief of the Oakland County Sheriff's Department has not spoken one word about the disappearance of my cousin. And I feel that he definitely should have, when he's spoken out about a missing persons case from someone who lives in Lansing, who's not even a resident within the jurisdiction that you're over. And of course, us being people of color, we don't get the national platform that a lot of others get to have things taken care of for them, as far as their loved ones being found and their cases being taken care of a lot more quickly than what we get. And I feel like that is something that is sad. We should not have to worry about whether or not we're going to get the same
Okay.
effort from our police department.
Okay. Okay. And that has been a concern, what you're expressing. I've heard this same concern, the same sentiment from numerous other individuals within the Black or African American community. And so, I totally understand. I understand, why you are feeling the way you are feeling about this situation. I do have to reach out to them and, give them the opportunity to tell me what they've done versus what they have not done. But I do understand your frustration and feeling as though, well, it's been a period of time and there hasn't been any kind of identification of any suspects, uh, persons of interest, um, no leads that has helped your family figure out exactly where Mr. Lyles is at this time. So, that is very disheartening. And based upon what you've expressed and the allegations that you've made and just the circumstances, it is there very disheartening to know that there has not been much progress. Um, Obviously, there hasn't been enough progress made into the disappearance of your, cousin's disappearance, Mr. Creg Lyles. And I know we're working backwards, but I want to make sure that everyone has a very clear picture of what happened as it happened, and understand why you are so concerned. Also, Mr. Lyle's mother, for some, I haven't been able to connect with her, but I will very soon. Why you all are very much concerned. I want to go back to the day or the evening the police kicked in. I was told that the police kicked in your cousin's door when he was not responding and they were trying to do a welfare check.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell me what they told you or others that they saw when they kicked in your cousin's door?
Well, we were originally told, well, Mike told my aunt that oh, his place is perfectly fine. I went to check. Everything is in place, but he's not there. But when the police got there, it was a completely different story. The apartment was completely destroyed and ransacked. I mean, um, it was not in the pristine condition that my cousin would have left it in. And for him to say, "Oh, everything's fine. I went to check and the home is fine. Everything is where it should be." And then for the police to get there and it's a completely different story and there are things missing and stuff is all over the place. I just think that all eyes are pointing in one direction. At least we as the family see it that way. And I'm not understanding why the police don't see it that way as well. And of course, it's still under investigation. So there's only so much that I could say at this point.
Okay. Looks like we're having some. Okay. Yes, I certainly understand. Certainly understand, and I respect. I can respect that, and with that having been said, there are a lot more details that we can discuss and explore. But I want the public to actually watch this live stream and not just skip over it. And then I need to look into, investigate, and try to bring some other people on to try to figure out exactly what happened. And so, with that being said, I think at this time, it's best that we kind of conclude this discussion. And I would like to, in a follow up conversation, to, discuss more details. After I've been given the opportunity to kind of verify some of the allegations that has been made. I love to speak with Mr. Lyles' mother in like a follow up conversation, and if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with Miss Cantrell. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Miss
Yes.
Cantrell?
Yes. Yes. And I
Okay.
just want to thank
Thank you. I'm
you.
going to go ahead and I'll disconnect right now and remove you from the stream. But I will be following up with you on a later date, and we will, Missing Lost in Traffic will definitely start an investigation, a journalistic investigation into the disappearance of Mr. Creg Lyles out of Waterford, Michigan. Thank you so much, and you have a nice night,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Cantrell.
Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you.
Okay, bye bye. Okay, so I'm trying to remove her. I did remove Miss Cantrell. Excuse me. Forgive me and forgive my country grammar. I just removed Miss Cantrell from the live stream. I appreciate her taking out the time tonight to discuss the circumstances surrounding her cousin's disappearance. His name is Creg Lyles, and Mr. Lyles was last seen on January 21st of 2021. Okay, today is January 23rd. This is a Sunday of 2022. He's been missing a year, ladies and gentlemen. He's been missing a year, 1 year, ladies and gentlemen. So, with that being said, I am going to Google right now and pulling up a number. Trying to pull up a number. I don't even have to go to Google. I'm just going to go to my Facebook page, okay? So I won't be taking all day to find this number, okay? So that was a quick fix. I'm on my Facebook page. If you have information regarding the disappearance of Mr. Lyles, I would love for you to contact the Waterford Police. You're going to call them at 248-618-6041. I encourage one of my supporters to type that number out in the comments. 248-618-6041. You will ask to speak with Detective Bartle, Bartle, with the Waterford Police Department in the state of Michigan. Mr. Lyles is described as being 5'5". He was about 180 pounds approximately when he was last seen. Okay? When he was last seen, okay? And he was 33 years of age when he was last seen. Now, I want you to listen to me real close right now. If you're sitting there and you're watching this live stream and you know you got information you've been sitting on, you know who you are regarding the disappearance of Mr. Lyles, and you're one of those people, I speak to people like that all the time. You'd rather send an email to a pit bull about a case than speak directly to the police. Okay. If you're one of those people and you are not under any circumstances going to talk to the police department and share any information you have, but you would like the family to get more answers, I'm encouraging you right now, trying to motivate you to reach out to me. You can send me a message from your fake page or your real page, Facebook page. On Facebook, you can send me a message from your fake Instagram or your real Instagram. I read all those messages. May take me a little time to get around to everybody, but I'm like sporadically checking my messages throughout the day. You can email me that information that you have, text messages, video, surveillance footage, bank statements, whatever you got. Email it to missing, lost, and trafficked kid at gmail.com. That's missing, lost, and trafficked kid at gmail.com. Thank you so very much, and for taking the time out to watch this live stream and think about if you have any information. You might have to just sit down and think for a while, and you just may have noticed or seen something, or you remember something, and that is significant. And if you don't remember anything, if you would just share the live stream, this would be great for you to do that much. But I thank you so very much for taking the time out to tune in to Missing, Lost, and Trafficked StreamYard broadcast tonight and discussion we've had with Miss Contrell, cousin of Mr. Creg Lyles, and he is currently missing. Thank you all and have a wonderful evening.